Nishaachana na mafomu za ashura be, hata nafula namba yake nimefuta, na kuashua usiku silali, naona sura yako mrembo, daily natamani kwako ningekuwa visible, nateswa na rada kila nikikuona na huyu jamaa. Kweli mama unanifaa waniwa, how do I live without you baby? Nenya ube manje nipeleke eregi kwa mama, nimweleze na baba, girl I need you in my life. Now we when I see you holding hands kama mwezi usiku, baby you know you're the one, baby you're the one, without you I can die, baby yeah. Nakufa baby yeah. Nakufa baby nakuhitaji yeah. Without you siwezi yeah. Naudai yeah. Nakufa baby yeah. Nakufa.
Yes, sir. That was Nakufa by Okello Max and Ben Soul. What it do, y'all? What's up? Welcome back to the show. This is Open Up with Kami. I, of course, am your host, Kami Mukindia, and I'm coming to you live on Radio 254. That is 24/7 Kenyan music, Kenyan content for y'all, period. It's so good to be back in this time slot. I don't know how many times I could say that. Anyway, y'all, let's get into it. Remember how like last week I kept saying, okay, this is the last time I'm going to talk about the LGBTQ plus thing. This is the last time I'm going to talk about this. Okay, I just have to talk about it one last time because nothing angers me more than hypocrisy. Okay, you guys must have been seeing how the First Lady, Madam Rachel Ruto, has been going across the country for prayers in what they're dubbing faith diplomacy. I would first like to ask everyone, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? What is faith diplomacy? I think we really forget why the separation of church and state happened. No one's saying you don't have the right to believe in what you believe in. No one's saying you don't have the right to, practice what you believe in. But when you start influencing policies based on one religion, when we're a country of very diverse religions, very diverse people, we have Christians, Muslims, atheists, we can't just assume that Kenya is a Christian country. Yes, the people are yes, the majority of people are Christian. Yes, the majority of Kenyans identify as Christian people, but at our core, we're a secular state. So I don't want to see people using the argument of, oh, but it's against God when it comes to policies to do with our law. You know what I mean? You can say, okay, I don't believe this is morally right. Cool. But let's not bring Jesus or God into something that is for the courts. If we wanted this country to be run by the church, it would be run by the church, not the Supreme Court. You know what I'm trying to say? Do you guys get what I'm trying to say? Anyway, so I bring this up because I saw a clip from The Standard. It was posted yesterday afternoon, literally 5 minutes after we wrapped up the show, actually. And it is a speech. Oh my God, I'm getting so worked up. Can you hear the deep sighs? Like I'm already getting irritated. And it was a First Lady urging people to maintain family structures. Okay, we're going to get a bit deep now. We're going to get a bit riled up because I'm not even going to say my opinions because I said them all throughout last week. I'm going to read the replies to this video that the Standard Digital posted, where she quote said, "We would not wish to talk about LGBTQ because it is not part of our culture." So someone replies saying, "The funniest oxymoron remains, quote, as Christians, we can't allow the West to force their values on us Africans." You guys know how Christianity got here? Let me just remind y'all how Christianity got here. Christianity got here on a boat. The white man came with the Bible and said, believe in God or yeah, we're gonna persecute you, basically. So then we adopted their religion. And again, like, you can say it's the right one. It's okay, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I'm just giving you historical context. And I said this last week. It's so funny to hear these guys say this is against our traditional African values. It's against our Christian values. Pick up a book, I beg you. Pick up a book ASAP, because you guys clearly do not remember how it got here in the first place. We didn't really care or know about who Jesus was. We didn't really care or know about gender roles and gender norms. In fact, traditionally, Africans are a matriarchal society, not a patriarchal one, where, women used to run things. But anyway, all that to say, this Christianity you're defending, and you saying, we can't allow these Western values to infiltrate our home. Darling, the Westerners were the ones that brought us homophobia. They're the ones that brought it here through your Christianity. So let's not get it twisted. You know what I mean? Like let's look at it with a historical lens, because people are missing the point. People are misconstruing what is actually real. And again, guys, I encourage people to believe in whatever they want to believe in. But if it's a rhetoric of hatred, if all that is ever spewed out of your mouth when talking about the LGBT community is hatred, it's coming from like a hateful place, and you don't even know why. It's because your pastor told you to. You haven't thought for yourself. It's because your pastor told you. This is going to be a bit of a tricky one still. But anyway, they go on to say, the Kenyans in replies, and I'm just gassed to see this, they continue to say, the same family structure that encourages father, brother, and uncle to abuse women and girls. Oh, or is it the same one that encourages women to stay in abusive marriages to maintain the structure? Y'all are hypocrites. Period. Shout out at Mama_Howie. Wow, I'm gonna read that again. She's basically asking, so the same family structure that encourages brother, father, and uncle to abuse women and girls? Or is it the same one that encourages women to stay in abusive marriages to maintain that structure? Y'all are hypocrites. I don't think I have to say anymore. I have covered this topic over and over and over again, like a beaten horse, like a beaten downtrodden horse. I have beat this horse until there's nothing left. So we're going to end it there. It just remains relevant because it's so silly that people forget. People are so upset about this Supreme Court ruling when it just ruled the LGBT community to have the right to association. If you don't know what that is, again, I beg you to pick up a book. Again, I beg you to just do an ounce of research before forming such hateful opinions. This is not about, nothing has been legalized to do with homosexuality, unfortunately, yet. This is only giving them the right to form associations, which is a human right and which upholds our constitution. So are you going against the constitution now? Why are we picking and choosing when the constitution applies? Because the constitution says everyone has a right to association. Every group has a right to association. And the Supreme Court just ruled in favor of upholding the constitution. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Are you guys following? Can the class nod? Raise your hand if you're confused. Okay. Anyway, all that to say, so people think that everything has been legalized now. It hasn't. We're just angry about them being able to form organizations. We're missing the point. It's just been an excuse to distract ourselves from the things that actually are going on, food security, the famine that's happening. And I actually did see a TikTok that beautifully explained that, and I played it last week. Anyway, yeah. I'm going to end it there because I get really, 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 really passionate about that. Let's get into a bit more depressing news, sadly. I started off the show saying that I wanted to cover this story that's really heartbreaking. And it's about a Langata policeman Mark Mulanda, who killed his partner. Okay. So this is reported by the Daily Nation on, let me just check the date very quickly. Let me do my due diligence. This morning. Yeah. So this is very fresh news. So a police officer who shot dead a woman he was living with and a neighbor's wife before turning the firearm on himself had a few days before threatened to go to his rural home where his wife lived and shoot everybody dead. It has now emerged that Corporal Mark Mulanda on Sunday night murdered Miss Viola Jepkoech Tirop, 37. She was 37 years old. And his mistress, Miss Rhoda Machuma Chepchumba, 28 years old, inside Mugomoini Chief's Camp, which is located 750 meters from the Langata police station. Okay, so, that's a lot. So his colleagues, Mr. Mulanda, who spoke to the nation, painted a picture of an officer who had shown signs of depression in recent past, saying his plight was discussed by colleagues and neighbors at the chief's camp. They go on to say, he always appeared disturbed. In the past few months, he preferred staying home alone and did not talk as much. Inside the chief's camp, there were 14 houses which are hidden behind a wooden 2 rooms building that forms part of the office of the chief. Okay, so basically, guys, his colleagues are insinuating, before I go on to read this entire article, his colleagues are insinuating that he did show signs of depression prior, and that could, that could have had something to do with the incident. I have my own thoughts on that. And the officer that's reporting on this, they're speaking in confidence as they're not authorized to address the media, adding that his drinking habits had also changed. Okay. So painting a picture. He seemed depressed. He was reclusive. He had been drinking maybe a bit more is what is being insinuated. Okay, so going on to the actual incident, right? I've just realized music has been playing in the background this entire time, which is jarring. Anyway, so let's carry on. Inside the chief's camp, there are 14 houses which are hidden behind a wooden 2 rooms building that forms part of the office of the chief. On the furthest end from the gate is a permanent house where the chief operates from. Okay. A neighbor who heard the commotion but was afraid to go outside until there was silence said that she heard Mulanda shout before he shot at Jepkoech. He then went to his house and shot his mistress, Chepchumba. Okay, so I don't know if they were living together, but basically he shot his wife and mistress. A detective privy to the ongoing investigations yesterday said that they suspect matters could have turned out worse if the officer had met more people outside because he sprayed bullets indiscriminately. Wow. Oh, I love that the nation added a translation for that. They literally just said shooting anyhow. Okay, I should not be laughing during this segment, but yeah, they basically said, in other words, he was shooting anyhow. Thank you for that clarification, the Daily Nation. So the detective said things could have been worse because he was shooting anyhow when he saw Miss Jepkoech, who was busy with her house chores. He only shouted before shooting at her. Oof. So it kind of just outlines the entire thing. I don't know how much of this I want to really unpack, but I think there's a larger conversation to be had here. But let me carry on. Initially, the officer in the company of 2 other officers had reached a local supermarket where he had been deployed only to excuse himself, saying he was rushing to pick something from his house, which is 500 meters away. The report revealed that Jepkoech was shot twice, while the officer shot his mistress 7 times using an AK-47 rifle that had been handed to him that evening. As the bodies of 3 lie in the city mortuary and Chiromo funeral home, the families are yet to come to terms with what transpired. Mr. Enoch Tirop, a colleague to Mulanda, whose wife was shot first, my goodness, said he had lost a loving wife and mother to his two daughters. Jepkoech had just cleared her tertiary studies. She was waiting to be posted by the Teacher Service Commission when she was killed. Oh my goodness, the Kikuyu is coming on. A close relative to Chepchumba said that the two met while Mulanda was training. Concerns have been raised in the past that many police officers in the country are facing mental health issues. So that's the larger conversation I want to have. In the most recent survey, the National Police Service Commission said that at least 12,000 police officers are facing mental health challenges due to work-related issues. Currently, former Chief Justice David Maraga is leading a task force that was formed by President William Ruto and is taking views from stakeholders with the aim of improving the lives of officers. So this heartbreaking report, why I've brought it up, guys, is that one line. Concerns have been raised in the past that many police officers in the country are facing mental health issues. Can you imagine what our police officers have to face on a day-to-day basis? We all know that maybe they need a lot more training, but what this tells us is they also need a lot more mental evaluation. I hope, and my wish and my hope is for Kenya to get to a place where we have the resources to do our due diligence when it comes to hiring law enforcement. Law enforcement is crucial in the running of any country, of any nation, any. They are the people that are supposed to be keeping us safe, but they themselves are not in psychologically safe places. This guy, this officer, what's his, he has a title, corporal. This corporal, Mark Mulanda, seemingly a regular guy, just turned around, shot his wife, shot his mistress, spraying an AK-47 everywhere before shooting himself. I'm at a loss because I have a feeling this happens more than we think. That these officers who, put their lives on the line for us, for our safety, have traumatizing experiences. Of course, because when you're in the field, what are you going to see? You deal with the worst of society. You deal with murderers, you deal with rapists, you deal with the worst criminals you could possibly think of. So of course that's going to have an effect on your mental health. Of course that's going to have an effect on your psychological well-being. So the government kind of needs to take this as a wake-up call to be like, how can we ensure the safety of the police officers so that they're equipped enough to ensure the safety of the civilians? If they're not psychologically safe, we as citizens, as civilians, aren't either. We're not safe. Our safety is compromised because they're not able to fulfill their duties to the best of their ability because they're suffering. And this guy was obviously very, very, very psychologically disturbed, and I'm not trying to excuse his actions, because no matter what, you should never turn to violence and never turn to murder. So he himself is a murderer, so I can't really emotionally put that aside. I can't. But it's clear he needed help. And this could have been prevented. And especially amongst our Kenyan men who are suffering because they don't know how to speak up. How many suicides do we need to experience before we take it seriously? This is just one that's been reported on. So many of us have lost so many people. And we keep having this conversation. And I'm waiting for the day that it changes. But I know these things take time. They take time. It's devastating. It's devastating. Anyway, y'all, I know that's a very, very heavy topic. And even the Quorum boys were like, hey, when we come on Kami's show, I just know we're about to get deep. And I mean, yeah. Because you have to talk about things that matter. And the things that matter aren't always sunshine and roses. The things that matter are also hard to discuss, if that makes sense. But thank you for listening. I hope I want to know your thoughts, guys. You know, tweet me at Kami Mukindia. Use a hashtag Open Up with Kami. Tweet us at Radio 254 Online. Use a hashtag Open Up with Kami. What are your thoughts? Are you guys listening live? What are your thoughts? You could also DM me so we could have a little chit chat. That could be cute. And yeah, guys, I mean, this is a devastating story, and it's harder knowing that it literally could have been prevented. It really, really, really could have been prevented, especially now that it's come out that he had signs of depression. This seems like more PTSD. I'm not a medical profession. No, I'm not a mental health specialist at all. Please, 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 please. But this seems more of like not just depression, but also PTSD. You know, when people just kind of snap. Yeah. Anyway, guys. Hard topic. Let's get back into the music so that we can bring up the vibes. You know, we like a healthy balance here on Open Up with Kami. We like, you know, a little bit of seriousness, a little bit of real life issues, and then we go back to turning up, I guess, because what can we do in this life? What can we do? Anyway, guys, up next is Okumbe by Brandy Minor. This is such a banger, and hopefully we'll bring up the mood a little bit. I'll see you guys in a bit. This is Open Up with Kami on Radio 254.